Okay, I am back again for another word problem. I did not mean to stop the recording. I meant to just pause it. So sorry about that. But I am on page 160 again, and this time I am doing number 112. And I'm going to read the problem, and then we will go from there. It says a rectangular shaped pool, 20 feet by 30 feet, has a sidewalk of uniform width around the pool. The area of the sidewalk is 336 feet. Find the width of the sidewalk. Okay, and a lot of times when you are doing word problems, you have to continue to come back to them and think about what they mean and think about what they're saying. So don't hesitate to read the word problems over and over again. So here we go. A rectangular shaped pool, and this inside rectangle is my pool, and it is 20 feet. Actually, our 20 feet probably should go right here, by 30 feet. Okay? So 20 feet by 30 feet is my inside rectangle. Then I have a sidewalk, and I know my rectangle doesn't look completely uniform, but pretend like it's completely uniform. So the inside of my sidewalk, this area right here that I'm highlighting, the area of the pink that I've just highlighted, the total area of that is 336 square feet. Okay, now if I just multiplied 30 by 20, that gives me 600 square feet, and that is the area of the pool. Just the pool, and then the sidewalk is an additional 336 square feet. So if I wanted to know the entire area, so my total area of my pool and my sidewalk, then I would add my 336 square feet plus my 600 square feet, and I would get 936 square feet. That is my total area. Now, we don't know the width of my sidewalk, so we're just going to label it X, okay? And that X is on every single side, okay? So we have X, that length, that width, X, is the same everywhere. So if I look at this 30 feet right here, and I want to figure out this total, sorry about that, if I want to figure out this length, 30 is just the length of my pool. So I've got an X value here, and I have an X value here. So the length of my entire area is going to be 30 plus 2X. Now I need to do that again. I need to find it this way. I need to find the width of my total area, and that is going to be 20 plus 2X, because look closely, I've got this and this. So I've got an X value on the top and an X value on the bottom. That's where my 2X comes in, and my 20 is the length of the pool. So now, if I were to multiply my new length times my new width, that is going to equal 936 square feet. Now I'm going to change this. Instead of writing 30 plus 2X, I'm going to write 2X plus 30. I just think for me, that's going to make it easier to FOIL. Then instead of writing 20 plus 2X, I'm going to write 2X plus 20. Okay? And now I'm going to FOIL. So I've got 2X times 2X, that's going to be 4X squared. 2X plus 20 is 20, oops, that's not 20, that's going to be 40X squared. Or just 40X, I'm sorry. And then I've got 30 times 2X, and that's going to be 60X. And then 30 times 20 is going to be 600. And that equals 936. Now, I've got some like terms I can combine. So I have 4x squared plus 100x But in order to solve this, I need to set it equal to 0. So I actually need to go ahead and subtract 936 from both sides to get that set equal to 0. And when I do that, I'm left with minus 336 equals 0. Now, I can also take a 4 out of this before I solve this. So I'm going to do 4, and then I'm left with x squared plus 25x minus 84. Now, I need to confirm that that's 84, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So I need to do 336 divided by 4, and I do get 84. So now I've got something much easier to factor, and I'm going to come over here and factor it. I can divide everything by 4, and 0 divided by 4 is 0. So I'm left with x squared plus 25x minus 84. Okay, equals 0. Now, I'm going to have one positive number and one negative number. Okay, and that's because my product is negative. And my numbers are 28 and 3. So sometimes it takes a little bit of figuring that. 28 and 3. But my 28 is going to be positive, and my 3 is going to be negative. Okay, because negative 3 times 28 is negative 84. Negative 3 plus 28 is 25. And we are going to set each factor equal to 0. So x is going to be negative 28, or x is going to be 3. Now, let's think about which one makes sense. Now, we're trying to find the distance of our sidewalk that goes around the pool. So we are immediately going to throw out this because it's a negative number. We can't have a negative 28-foot sidewalk. So our only answer to this is going to be 3 feet. And what that is telling us is that the area is, or the sidewalk is 3 feet wide. And that is what this is telling us. So that is the answer to this. Now, hopefully this time I am just going to pause it. I'm not going to cut it off completely. So let me pause the recording while I get our next one going. Okay. Now I am on page 217, and I am doing number 43. So we have, so I'm going to read the problem, and then we're going to kind of talk about what it means. So number 43 says, working together, Dan and Julio can mow a lawn in 12 minutes. Julio can mow the lawn by himself in 10 minutes less time than it takes Dan by himself. How long does it take each of them to mow the yard? Now, this one is probably going to take a little bit of time to really figure out what's going on. So you're probably going to have to read it again, and each time you read it, you're probably going to get some more information from it. So let's kind of take it piece by piece. So first of all, we have Dan and we have Julio. Dan and Julio. Okay, together they can mow a specific yard in a certain amount of time. Okay, and it says Dan and Julio can mow a lawn in 12 minutes. So that is them working together. Together, they can mow the yard in 12 minutes. Then it says Julio can mow the lawn by himself in 10 minutes less time than it takes Dan by himself. So we're going to assign Dan the X value. Then I'm going to read it again. Julio can mow the lawn by himself in 10 minutes less time than it takes Dan by himself. So if Dan can mow it in X minutes, then Julio can mow it in X minus 10 minutes. Okay. Now, here we've got how much time it takes Dan to mow, how much time it takes Julio to mow, and how much it takes them together to mow. So what we have to figure out is how much time does it take for them individually to mow it. So in 1 minute, the two of them mowing it together can get 1/12 of the yard mowed. Okay, this is if they are mowing it together. So in 1 minute, mowing that at the same time, they're getting 1/12 of the yard mowed. In 1 minute, Dan can get 1x. 1 over x is how you represent Dan in 1 minute. So then we would represent Julio in 1 minute with 1 over x minus 10. Okay, so this is how much they can accomplish in 1 minute. So once we figured this out, then if I take Dan together with Julio, so Dan working 1 over x, that's how much he can do in 1 minute. Julio working 1 over x minus 10 in 1 minute. And together, in 1 minute, they can get 1/12 of it done. So this is the equation. So you have to break it down to specific minutes. How much can they accomplish in one set amount of time? And at this point, our LCD is going to be x minus 10, and 12. That's my LCD. Okay, so I am going to multiply my LCD times each individual term. So I have x times x minus 10 times 12, and that is going to be times 1 over x. Okay, then I'm going to do that again. I have x times x minus 10 times 12, and that is times, so that's plus 1 over x minus 10, and that equals, and I'm running out of room, x times x minus 10, I'm going to run out of room, times 12, yep, I'm going to run out of room. So let's erase some of this so that we can do it well. Okay, I'm gonna do my LCD parts again. So I am multiplying x times x minus 10 times 12. That's my LCD, and I am multiplying that times 1 over x. And then I've got, I'm going to write it again, my LCD, x times x minus 10 times 12, and I am multiplying that times 1 over x minus 10, and that is equal to 1/12 times my LCD again. So I have to multiply that LCD times every single thing. Okay. Now I can simplify, and I'm going to simplify in red. Okay? So this x and this x cancel. So I am left with 12 times x minus 10. Okay? My x minus 10 and my x minus 10 cancel. So I am left with x times 12. And then here my 12s cancel. And I am left with x times x minus 10. Okay? Now I am going to simplify. So I have 12x minus 120 plus 12x equals x squared minus 10. Now 12x and 12x is going to be 24x. Then I've got my minus 120 equals x squared minus 10. Now, I am actually going to move my 24x and my minus 120 to the right because my x value is already positive on the right-hand side. And I want to deal with a positive x value or x squared value because having a positive 1 in front of that x squared makes factoring easier. So I am going to subtract 24x and I'm going to add 120 to both sides. Okay, so I have minus 24x and plus 120. So I have 0 equals x squared minus 34x plus 120. And that is what I'm going to factor, but I need to go back over here and erase some stuff. I need a bigger screen. Okay, so now I am solving this problem. So I have 0 equals x squared minus 34x plus 120. Negative 30, so 120 is my product. So negative 30 times negative 4 are my two numbers. So I'm going to have x minus 30 and x minus 4. So then when I set each one of those equal to 0, I get x equals 30, and then I get x equals 4. But, whoops, x equals 4 doesn't make any sense because if Dan mowed it in 4 minutes, then Julio would have mowed it in negative 6 minutes. So I have to throw this out because it doesn't make sense. So my only answer is x equals 30. So if Dan mowed the yard in 30 minutes, then Julio mowed the yard in 20 minutes, and then together they can mow the yard in 12 minutes. Okay? So if you have any questions about any of the problems on your homework or any of the word problems or anything like that, you can either email those to me and I will try to make a video of those tomorrow, or you can bring them to class on Tuesday and we'll go over them. So again, your quiz is due on Tuesday night at midnight. You have 3 attempts to do that quiz, and your test is going to be on Thursday. So I will see everybody on Tuesday, and I hope you have a good night. Bye.